The night was cold on the alien marketplace. Strange lights glowed above, and the air smelled of metal and smoke. People moved quickly, faces hard, eyes empty. No one looked at anyone else. No one cared about anyone else. Among them walked a human, tired and quiet. He had worked all day carrying heavy crates for alien traders. Now he finally sat down on a broken bench. From his small bag, he pulled out food. A simple meal, but warm. Steam rose from it, and the smell spread softly into the dark air. He was about to eat when he heard it, a whisper almost too weak to notice. "Please, can we have your leftovers?" His hands froze, spoon halfway to his mouth. The voice was shaking, soft, filled with hunger and shame. He turned his head slowly. Behind him, two alien girls stood in the shadows, their skin pale, their clothes torn, eyes big, shining with hunger. They looked so thin that their bones almost showed under their skin. The human stared at them. They were trembling, their hands held together. No one else noticed them. No one else cared. The market was full of voices, laughter, trade. But to these two girls, the world was silent, cold, and cruel. The human lowered his food. He asked in a quiet voice, "Did you say leftovers?" The older girl nodded. Her lips cracked as she whispered again, "Just a little, please. Anything you do not need." For a moment, the human felt his chest tighten. He looked around. Alien faces passed by, but none stopped. Some saw the girls and quickly turned away, as if the sight of them was something dangerous. Something cursed. The human felt a strange weight. Why was everyone ignoring them? Why did they act as if the girls did not exist? His mind raced, but his heart pulled him in one direction only. He took a deep breath. He held out a piece of bread toward the girls. But before they could take it, a voice hissed from the side, "Don't touch them, human. Leave them alone." The human turned. An alien merchant was watching, his face twisted with fear. "Do not feed them," the merchant warned. "They are cursed. Anyone who helps them will bring trouble." The girls shrank back, lowering their heads. It was clear they had heard these words many times before. Their bodies shook, but their eyes still burned with silent hunger. The human's hand trembled. He looked at his food, then at the girls, and finally at the merchant. He said nothing, but inside his heart, a fire lit. Slowly, he pushed the bread into the hands of the younger girl. She gasped as if she held treasure. Her sister's eyes filled with tears. They both whispered together, "Thank you. Thank you." The human felt something stirred deep inside him. The sound of their weak voices cut him like a knife. He watched them eat with small bites, careful not to waste even a crumb. Every swallow was like life returning to them. But around him, the market seemed to change. People were watching now, their faces dark, their eyes full of warning. The human could feel the air grow heavy. Whispers passed through the crowd. He fed them. A human fed them. His heart beat faster. He wanted to ask why. Why are they cursed? Why are they starving while the world looks away? But the answers did not come. Only silence and judgment from all sides. The girls finished the bread. They bowed their heads, whispering thanks again. Their voices so soft he almost could not hear. The human looked at them closely. They were not monsters, not dangerous, only broken and hungry. He knew one thing. If he walked away now, they would starve again tomorrow. If he turned his back, he would be no different from the others. But if he helped them, truly helped them, he might invite danger into his own life. He looked at their thin arms, their hollow cheeks, and something inside him made the choice for him. He broke his meal in half, pushing the rest into their hands. The older sister's tears spilled onto the bread. She whispered, Why would you help us? No one else ever does." The human's voice was quiet but strong. "Because you asked, and because you are hungry." For the first time, the girl smiled. It was small, weak, but it was hope, a fragile light in the darkness. Yet, as the human looked around, he saw alien guards moving closer. Their faces cold, their steps heavy, the air filled with tension, and he understood. By helping the girls, he had crossed a line he could not uncross. The night in the alien marketplace had just turned dangerous, and his story with the two starving sisters had only begun. The alien guards moved closer through the crowd. Their boots struck the ground in heavy rhythm. The people of the market stepped back, leaving space. It was as if the entire place held its breath, waiting to see what would happen. The human sat still. The girls crouched near him, holding the bread tightly, their faces pale with fear. The older sister whispered, "They are coming. Please, do not get into trouble because of us." But the human did not move away. He looked at the guards with steady eyes. The tallest guard spoke first. His voice was cold, like metal scraping stone. "Human, you have broken the law of this city. You fed the forsaken, and you will answer for this crime." The human frowned. He had heard of strange rules before, but never like this. A crime to feed the hungry? A crime to show mercy? His chest tightened with anger, but he kept his voice calm. "They are only children. They were starving." The guard's eyes narrowed. "Children or not, they carry the curse. No one must touch them. No one must share food with them. Their hunger is their punishment, their fate, and now you are tainted too." The human's stomach turned. He glanced at the two girls. The younger one was clutching the bread so tightly her knuckles were white. Tears ran down her cheeks as she shook her head. "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cause this. Please don't hurt him." The human felt something strange. In their voices he heard desperation. Not the desperation of thieves, but of the innocent. He remembered times in his own past when he had felt alone, ignored, and he knew in his heart he could not abandon them. The guard raised his weapon, a long staff glowing faint blue, but before he could strike, the human stood. He placed himself between the guards and the girls. His voice was calm, but sharp with iron. "If it is a crime to feed the hungry, then I am guilty, but I will not take back what I did." The crowd gasped. No one dared speak against the guards, no one ever did. Yet here was a human, small, alone, unarmed, challenging their authority. The guards exchanged looks, their eyes filled with dark amusement. One muttered, "Stupid alien, you do not know the weight of your choice." The guards did not strike. Not yet. Instead, they turned and walked away slowly. But their leader spoke. As he left, "You will regret this, human. You cannot fight the law, and you cannot fight the curse. Remember our words, for they will return to you soon." The human's hands were shaking, but he hid it. He turned to the girls, kneeling down. To meet their eyes, "Are you hurt?" he asked, his voice soft. The older sister shook her head, though her eyes were wide with fear. "They will come back," she whispered. "They will not forget this." The human studied them carefully. Two thin girls, broken by hunger, crushed by the cruelty of a society that despised them. He did not understand the curse, but he understood pain. He understood the look of someone who had been abandoned too many times. He offered them the rest of his food. "Eat, both of you there. Is no shame in it. I don't care what they call you. To me, you are not cursed. You are alive, and you deserve to live." The sisters hesitated, but hunger won over fear. Slowly they ate, every bite shaky and careful. The human watched them, his heart heavy and warm at the same time. Something inside him whispered that this choice would change his life forever. As they ate, he asked quietly, "Tell me, why does everyone fear you so much? What is this curse they speak of?" The older girl lowered her head. Her voice cracked as she answered, "Our family was accused of betrayal long ago. They said we brought ruin to this place. We lost everything. Our parents, our home, our names. No one will hire us, no one will feed us if anyone helps us. The anger falls on them too. So we are left to starve. Always." The younger sister leaned closer to him, her eyes red from tears. "You are the first person who ever gave us food. The first one who looked at us without hate." The human felt. His throat tightened. These two children had been marked by lies, trapped by rules they did not create. And now, by helping them once, he had been dragged into their world of danger. Yet he could not walk away, not now, not ever. The market around them began to move again. Traders returned to their shops. People whispered in fear. But all the human saw were the two sisters, thin hands holding bread, eyes shining with weak hope. He knew what the guard said was true. This was not the end, it was only the beginning. By giving food to the starving, he had opened a door he could never close, and somewhere deep inside, he did not want to close it. That night, under the cold, alien sky, the bond between a lonely human and two forgotten sisters was sealed with bread and tears. And in that simple act of kindness, a storm of trouble was already waiting to fall. The morning came heavy with silence. The human woke in the small corner where he had been sleeping. His thoughts were still full of the two alien girls, their weak voices, their trembling hands, their desperate gratitude. He could not forget the way they looked at him, as if he was the only person in the universe who had ever seen them. He left his shelter and stepped back into the market. The sky above was gray, a thin mist crawling between the towers. People were already busy, trading, shouting, moving. But today, something felt different. Every eye seemed to follow him. Whispers followed wherever he walked. He stopped at a stall to buy bread. The alien merchant froze when he saw him. You are the human who fed the cursed ones," the merchant said with sharp disgust. "Do not come here. I will not sell to you." The human frowned. "I only gave food to starving children," he answered calmly. But the merchant spat to the side. "You are one of them now, cursed like them." The word spread faster than fire. By midday, everyone in the market knew. The human had broken the law. The human had touched the untouchable. Shops closed their doors to him. Traders turned. Their backs, even children pointed and whispered as he passed. Still he carried bread and water. He found the two sisters hiding in the shadows of a broken wall. When they saw him, their faces lit with weak hope. The younger one cried out, "You came back." The human smiled softly, though his heart felt heavy. "Of course I came back," he said. "You need food, and I promised myself I would not leave you." He gave them bread, and they ate carefully as if afraid someone might steal it away. As they ate, the older sister asked, "Why do you keep helping us? Do you not see? What is happening? Everyone hates you now because of us." The human looked at her with steady eyes. "Hate is nothing new to me. I have seen it before, felt it before. But if I walk away, you will die, and I cannot let that happen." The girl lowered her gaze. Her voice was a whisper. "Then you will suffer with us, and that is not fair." The human shook his head. "Fairness is not the point. The point is right and wrong, and feeding the hungry can never be wrong." But as the day went on, the weight of his choice grew heavier. At night, when he walked the narrow streets, stones were thrown from the shadows. Voices hissed. "Traitor, curse lover, go back to your own world." He bled from a cut on his arm, but he kept walking. He knew the anger was only beginning. One evening, as he gave water to the sisters, 3 alien men approached, their faces twisted with hate. "You have brought shame on this place, human," one growled. "Helping them is the same as spitting on our laws." The human stood tall. "I spit on cruelty, not on laws," he answered firmly. "They are starving, and you do nothing. If this is law, then it is no law worth following," the men hissed. With rage, one raised a knife. The sisters gasped, pulling close to the human. But before the blade could strike, the human grabbed the attacker's wrist. His grip was strong, his eyes sharp. "Do not touch them," he said coldly. His voice carried such weight that the men froze. Then with curses they pulled back and disappeared into the night. The sisters clung to him, their small bodies shaking. The younger one whispered, "They will not stop, they will keep coming." The human knelt down, meeting their eyes. "Then let them come, I am not afraid. You are not alone anymore, but—" Inside, his heart was troubled. He had made enemies without number. The whole market, maybe the whole city, would soon turn against him. He wondered if he could protect the girls forever, or if the day would come when his kindness would cost him his life. That night, as the sisters fell asleep beside him, the human sat awake, staring at the stars above. He thought of home, far, away. He thought of hunger, of loneliness, and he thought of the strange bond now tying him to these two fragile lives. He whispered into the cold air, "I do not know why fate brought us together, but I will not walk away, even if the whole world turns against me." In the shadows of the city, whispers grew stronger. The human who fed the cursed ones had become a threat, and in the hearts of the people, fear and anger began to rise like a storm. The backlash had only begun, and soon the real danger would show itself. The nights grew colder. The human stayed close to the two sisters, keeping watch while they slept. Every sound in the dark made him tense. Every whisper in the alleys felt like a threat. He knew the city was turning against him, yet something deeper told him to stay. Not out of pity, but out of duty, as if destiny itself had tied him to the girls. One evening, as the market closed, the older sister spoke softly. "Human, you should not be with us. It will only bring you pain. You must leave before it is too late." Her words trembled, as if she truly believed she was poison to anyone who came near. The human shook his head. "I will not leave. Not while you starve. Not while you are hunted." The younger sister grabbed his sleeve, her eyes wide and wet. "You do not understand. No one tells the truth. They only say we are cursed, but they never say why. Do you want to know the truth?" The human's chest tightened. "Yes, tell me everything. I need to understand." The girls exchanged a long look. Finally, the older sister took a deep breath. Her voice was weak but sharp with memory. "Long ago, our family was trusted. Our father worked for the council of the city. He was a keeper of secrets, one of the few allowed to see hidden records. But then, something terrible happened. A war was coming, and lies were spreading. They accused our father of betrayal. They said he gave information to the enemy." Her eyes darkened with sorrow. "Our family was taken, judged without proof. Mother was executed, father was dragged away. We were only children. The council declared us cursed, unworthy of life. From that day, no one touched us, no one fed us. Even those who pitied us were too afraid, because anyone who helped us became marked, shamed, punished, or worse." The younger sister hugged herself, her voice breaking. "We ran, we begged, but every door closed. We lived on scraps, on water from broken pipes. Sometimes days passed without food. We thought, maybe we should not live at all, but we held on, hoping someone, anyone, would see us as more than cursed shadows." The human listened in silence, his hands clenched at his sides. He could see the pain carved into their faces. Years of hunger, rejection, fear. He felt anger burn in his chest, not at them, but at the world that had crushed them. His voice came low and firm. "You are not cursed. You are victims of lies. Your suffering is not fate. It is cruelty. And cruelty can be fought." The sisters stared at him. Hope flickered in their tired eyes, but the older one whispered, "No one fights the council. No one dares. Those who try disappear. If you stand with us, they will destroy you too." The human leaned closer. "Then let them try. I have nothing to lose but you." He placed a hand gently over theirs. "You still have a chance, and I will not let that chance be taken." For the first time, the girls cried openly. Not from hunger, but from the weight of being believed. Tears fell freely and their weak bodies shook. The human stayed with them, letting them weep, for in that moment, the bond between them deepened. They were no longer strangers. They were family chosen by fate, but danger was already moving in the shadows. As they spoke, spies of the council listened from rooftops. Whispers spread quickly. "The human knows too much. The human protects the cursed ones." By morning, more threats would come. More eyes would turn against him. That night, as the sisters slept under his thin blanket, the human stared at the alien sky. His mind raced with questions. What truly happened to their father? Was he guilty or was he framed? And why did the council fear these children so much that they would rather starve them than face the truth? The human clenched his fists. He felt the storm gathering. He had entered this by accident, only meaning to share food. But now, the truth pulled him deeper. He was no longer just feeding the hungry. He was standing against an entire system built on lies. As the first light of dawn touched the city walls, the human whispered into the cold air, "They can curse you. They can curse me. But the truth cannot be hidden forever, and I will find it." The sisters stirred in their sleep. One reached for his arm, holding it like a lifeline. The human felt the weight of their trust. It was heavy, but it was also strength. He knew he could not turn back. The hidden truth was out, and the path forward was more dangerous than ever. The sun had barely risen when trouble came. The human woke to the sound of boots echoing in the narrow street. He opened his eyes quickly, seeing shadows move against the wall. The sisters were still asleep beside him, their faces pale but peaceful. But he knew at once peace would not last. Voices shouted from outside, "Find the human, find the cursed ones." The words struck like thunder. The council's soldiers were searching, and this time, they would not walk away. The human shook, the girls gently. "Wake up, we must go," he whispered firmly. The older sister stirred first, her eyes wide with fear. "They have come for us, haven't they?" He nodded, gripping her hand. "Yes, but I will not let them take you. Now stand quickly." The younger sister rubbed her eyes, confused. But when she heard the soldiers' voices, she clung to his arm tightly. "I don't want to go back. I don't want to die," she cried softly. The human bent low, looking into her eyes. "You will not, I promise. We will run. We will fight if we must. But I will not leave you behind." The soldiers pushed through the street. Breaking open doors, every step they took brought them closer. The human led the sisters into a narrow passage between buildings. The air smelled of rust and damp stone. It was dark, but it was their only chance. They ran, their feet slapping. Against wet ground, the younger girl stumbled, but he caught her before she fell. The older sister whispered directions. "There is an old tunnel under the market. If we reach it, we can hide for a while." The human trusted her. They slipped, through twisting paths, past broken walls and abandoned stalls, but soon, shouts rose behind them. They went this way. The sound of boots grew louder, closer. The human's heart pounded. He pushed the sisters ahead. "Run faster, don't look back." They reached the tunnel entrance, a hole covered with broken wood. The sisters dropped inside, crawling into the darkness. The human followed last, pulling the cover back into place. The tunnel was cold and smelled of earth, but at least it hid them from the soldiers above. They crawled for what felt like hours. Finally, the tunnel opened into a wide chamber lit by cracks of light from above. The girls collapsed, breathing hard. The human sat with his back against the wall, his chest heaving. He listened carefully. The sound of boots was fading. For now, they were safe. The younger sister leaned against him, shaking. Her voice was a whisper. "They will never stop. Why do you keep risking yourself for us? You could have run, you could have saved yourself." The human placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "Because your lives matter. Because no one else will stand for you. And because once you asked me for food, and I could not forget your voices." The older sister looked at him with wide eyes. "No one has ever spoken like that to us, not even before our family fell. We do not deserve this kindness." The human shook his head, his voice steady. "Do not believe their lies. You deserve to live. You deserve more than scraps, and I will prove it. But first, we must survive." The sisters nodded, but fear still lingered in their eyes. They had lived too long in shadows to believe safety could last. The human knew this. He could see how deeply the curse had shaped their souls. He clenched his fists. He would not let their lives be stolen again. Hours passed in silence. Then, faint voices echoed from above. The council soldiers were still searching. The human knew they could not stay in the tunnel forever. Food was short, water even less. They had to move again, farther beyond the city if possible. He rose to his feet, determination hardening in his chest. "We leave tonight," he said. "The city is no longer safe for any of us. If we stay, they will catch us. If we run, we might have a chance." The sisters looked at him with fear, but also with trust. The younger one whispered, "Where will we go?" The human thought of the stars, of places beyond this cruel city. Somewhere far where no one calls you cursed, somewhere you can eat, laugh, and live. The older sister touched his arm, her voice trembling but hopeful. You would leave everything for us? The human nodded without hesitation. I already have. From the moment I gave you bread, my path changed. Now it belongs to all three of us. That night, under the cover of darkness, the human led the sisters out of the tunnel. The city lights glowed like fire above them. Shadows stretched long and danger lurked at every turn, but they moved together. Three souls bound by hunger, kindness, and defiance. Behind them, the council's anger burned like a storm. Ahead of them, only uncertainty waited. But the human knew one truth. The escape had begun, and no matter how far they had to run, he would not let the sisters fall again. The night was restless. The human and the two sisters moved through the broken streets. Every sound made them tense. Every shadow felt like danger. They had escaped the tunnels, but they had not escaped the city, and the city was alive with hunters. The council had spread the word, find the human, find the cursed ones. Posters were hung, soldiers searched every corner. Even common people spat their anger. Doors closed when they walked past, eyes burned with hatred, yet the human never let go of the sisters' hands. They reached the edge of the city where old towers stood in ruin. The human guided them into one, its walls cracked and roof half fallen. Here they rested, hiding among broken stones. The sisters sat close to him, their faces pale with exhaustion. The younger whispered, "How long can we run?" The human brushed her hair gently. "As long as we must, but not forever. There comes a time when running must end." The older sister looked at him, her eyes deep with fear and wonder. "And what then? What happens when the soldiers catch us?" The human's gaze hardened. "Then we stop running, then we stand." His words carried a strength they had never heard before. The sisters fell silent. It was the first time anyone had ever spoken of facing the council instead of fleeing. Later that night, the sound of boots returned. Soldiers, dozens of them, moving toward the ruins. Torches flickered, weapons gleamed. The sisters trembled, holding on to him. The younger whispered, "They found us." The human rose to his feet. "Yes, they found us, but I will not let them take you." The soldiers surrounded the ruin. Their leader stepped forward. It was the same tall guard from the market. His voice rang out sharp. "Human, this is the end. You cannot save them. You cannot save yourself. Give them up, and perhaps we will spare your life." The human stepped into the torchlight, his shoulders straight, his eyes like fire. "I will not give them up. Not to you, not to anyone. They are innocent, and your lies will not silence me." The crowd of soldiers laughed coldly. "You are a fool," the leader sneered. "They are cursed, and now you are cursed too. This city will never accept you." The human's voice thundered back. "Then I do not need your city, I do not need your laws, I only need the truth. And the truth is that these girls deserve to live." The sisters gasped. Tears filled their eyes. No one had ever defended them so fiercely. The younger cried out, "Don't fight them, they will kill you." But the human shook his head. "If they kill me, they prove themselves monsters. If I stand and speak, I show the world that kindness cannot be killed." The soldiers closed in, weapons raised. The human reached for a broken iron bar lying in the rubble. It was no real weapon, but in his hands it became a symbol. He planted his feet and raised his voice to the sky. "If you want them, you must go through me." For a moment silence held the air, even the soldiers paused, struck by the weight of his defiance. Then the leader snarled, "So be it." They charged. The sisters screamed, but the human did not move back. He swung the bar with fierce strength, knocking one soldier down. Another rushed, but he blocked the blow with his arm, refusing to fall. He fought with everything he had, not because he believed he could win, but because he believed. The girls were worth every drop of his blood. The soldiers outnumbered him, striking again and again, yet the human stood tall, bruised, bleeding, but unbroken. Every time they tried to reach the sisters, he forced them back. The girls clung to each other, tears streaming down their faces. The younger whispered, "He is fighting for us. He is really fighting for us." The human's voice roared through the ruin. You call them cursed, but I call them family. You call them shame, but I call them hope. If I fall tonight, let the stars remember that one human stood for what was right. The words struck deep. Some of the soldiers hesitated. Whispers rippled among them. Why would he fight so hard for the forsaken? Why would he choose death for them? The leader snarled louder. Do not falter, he is only one man. But the doubt had been planted, and the sisters saw it. They saw eyes shifting, weapons lowering slightly. For the first time, the wall of hate showed cracks. The human fought on, every strike weaker than the last. Blood dripped from his brow, his breath ragged. Yet still he stood. Still he blocked every path to the sisters. Still he refused to bow. The night sky above was wide and endless, and in that ruined tower a single man made his stand. Not for glory, not for power, but for two starving children who had once whispered, for leftovers, and for the belief that kindness was stronger than cruelty. The battle was not yet over, but the stand had begun, and the sisters knew, from this night onward, nothing would ever be the same. The ruin shook with the clash of voices and steel. The human stood in the center, blood on his face, iron bar in his hands. Around him, soldiers hesitated, some ready to strike, others frozen with doubt. The sisters clung together behind him, their hearts pounding, their tears falling. The night was alive with fire, anger, and fear. The leader of the guards raised his staff again. "Kill him!" he commanded. But his soldiers did not move at once. They stared at the human. His body, bruised, his breath heavy, yet his eyes burned with something stronger than pain. The human lifted his voice loud and clear. You call these children cursed, but it is your hearts that are cursed with cruelty. You starve the innocent, you destroy the weak, and you call it law, you call it justice. But tonight, I tell you, your lies end here. The sisters gasped, his words rising like fire in the night. The soldiers wavered, their grips on their weapons loosening. They had been taught to fear the cursed ones, to hate them. But now they saw a man who was not afraid. A man who bled for them. A man who stood unbroken. One soldier dropped his weapon. I will not fight. This, he muttered, stepping back. Another followed, lowering his spear, whispers spread like wind. What if the human is right? What if the curse is only a lie? The leader roared with rage. Cowards, fools, do not listen to him. These children brought ruin. They deserve nothing but death. He lunged at the human. Their weapons clashed, sparks flying. The human staggered under the force but pushed. Back with one final strike, he knocked the staff from the leader's hands. The sound rang like thunder. The soldiers froze. Their leader lay on the ground, stunned, unarmed. The human stood above him, breathing hard, his iron bar raised. He could end it now. But instead, he threw the bar aside. His voice shook with strength. No more death, no more lies. The curse is broken tonight. The silence that followed was heavy. Then slowly, one by one, the soldiers stepped back. Some bowed their heads ashamed. Others turned away, unwilling to fight any longer. The leader crawled back, his voice breaking. You cannot change the council. You cannot fight the city. The human turned to the crowd that had gathered outside. People had come to watch, drawn by the noise. Faces filled the night. Watching, waiting. He lifted his arms, calling out, Look at them. Look at these children. Do you see demons? Do you see monsters? Or do you see two starving girls who asked only for bread? The crowd murmured, shifting uneasily. The sisters stepped forward, their thin bodies trembling. The younger whispered through her tears, We never wanted this. We only wanted to live, to be seen, to be fed. Her voice cracked, but it carried through the night. And for the first time, the people listened. They did not turn away. They did not spit. They only listened. The human placed a hand on each girl's shoulder. They are not cursed. They are survivors. And if you call them cursed for living, then call me cursed too. Because I will stand with them until my last breath. Something changed in the air. The fear that had ruled the people began to break. The lie of the curse cracked like glass, and in its place a small spark of truth began to grow. The soldiers lowered their weapons completely. The leader, defeated, fled into the night. The sisters stood with the human, no longer hidden in shadow. For the first time in years, they were not invisible. They were seen, truly seen. The crowd parted as the three of them walked through. Some reached out, not with hate but with trembling hands of curiosity. No one threw stones. No one spat. Instead, silence followed them. The silence of change that night. Under the alien stars, the human and the two sisters left the city together. They did not know what tomorrow would bring, but they knew one thing. They were no longer alone. The older sister whispered as they walked, "You gave us food, but you gave us more than that. You gave us hope." The younger added softly, "And you gave us family." The human smiled, though his body ached. That day, I only thought of feeding empty stomachs, but I see now, I was feeding empty hearts too. The sisters leaned against him, and together they walked into the unknown, not cursed, not broken, but alive, free, and bound by something stronger than fear. A story that began with a whisper for leftovers had ended with a stand against lies, and in that stand kindness had won. Kindness had changed everything.